Let me tell you about the most expensive mistake in investing. It's not picking the wrong stock, it's not missing a bull run, it's not even buying crypto at the top. The most expensive mistake is quitting 2 years too early. Here's what I mean. Imagine two people, same age, same income, same starting point. One of them invests for 7 years and stops. The other one invests for 5 years and quits because nothing seems to be happening. 20 years later, the first person is a millionaire. The second is wondering where it all went wrong. The difference wasn't talent, it wasn't luck. It was understanding one single framework called the 7,531 rule that tells you exactly why building wealth feels slow, exactly when it explodes, and exactly what you need to do to still be in the game when it does. By the end of this video, you'll never look at your investment account the same way again. Here's what we're covering. 4 numbers, 7, 5, 3, and 1. Each one solves a different reason why most people fail to build wealth. Miss even one of them, and the whole system breaks down. Stay with me, because number 3 is the one nobody talks about, and it might be the most important of all. Okay, let's start with the number that will either set you free or drive you crazy. 7. 7 years. That's the minimum time you need to stay invested before compounding starts producing results that actually feel like something. Now, I know what you're thinking. 7 years? That sounds like a long time. And honestly, the first few years are going to test you. Here's the math, and stay with me. Because the math is where the magic is hiding. You invest $10,000. You earn roughly 10% per year. That's the historical average of the S&P 500, going back to 1,926. Year 1? Your $10,000 becomes $11,000, $1,000. You could have made that working a few extra weekends. The opportunity cost feels enormous. Year 2, $12,100. 2 years of discipline, 2 years of watching your friends spend freely, and you've made $2,100. Year 3, $13,300. Year 4, $14,600. Year 5, $16,100. 5 years, $6,000 in gains. This is exactly when most people quit. They look at 5 years of sacrifice and think, is this it? They conclude that compound interest must be something that works for other people who started with more or got lucky, and they pull out. And then they miss everything that comes next. Because in year 6, $17,700. Year 7, $19,500. You've almost doubled your money, and more importantly, something has shifted. The annual gains are starting to feel real. But the real explosion? Years 8 through 20. Your $10,000 quietly grows to $31,000, then $50,000. Then, by year 20, $67,000. From a single $10,000 investment, no extra contributions, nothing but time. Here's why this happens. Compounding is an exponential curve, not a straight line. And exponential curves look almost completely flat until suddenly they don't. The bend in the curve starts right around year 7. There's actually historical data to back this up, looking at rolling 7-year windows in the S&P 500. Investors who stayed invested for the full 7 years have essentially never experienced negative returns. Never. Short-term investing is gambling. 7-year investing is wealth building. Those are 2 completely different games. All right, you commit to 7 years. Great. But here's where the second number comes in, because staying invested for 7 years means nothing if you're holding the wrong thing when a crash hits. The number is 5, as in 5 different investment categories minimum. Here's the trap most new investors fall into. They see what performed best last year. Maybe it was tech stocks, maybe it was small cap value, maybe it was crypto, and they go all in. Because why spread your money around when you can put it all in the winner? The problem isn't that concentrated bets can't work, it's that no single category wins every year. And when your one category crashes 50%, The emotional damage is devastating. You panic. You sell. You lock in losses that would have recovered. The 5-category framework that protects against this: large cap quality stocks, value-oriented investments, growth stocks at reasonable prices, mid and small cap opportunities, and international exposure. These 5 categories move differently under different economic conditions. When one bleeds, others often hold steady or even rise. The S&P 500 delivered 26% in 2023, 25% in 2024, and then negative 18% in 2022. Individual sectors swung even harder. Diversification won't make you the richest person in the room in any single year. What it will do is keep you in the game long enough for compounding to work, and that's the whole point. Okay, this is the one nobody talks about, and I genuinely believe this is the most important number in the entire framework. The number is 3. 3 emotional phases that every single investor goes through. If you don't know they're coming, they will knock you out of the game. Phase 1. Disappointment. This happens early. Your investments return 7 or 8% in a year. Technically, fine, but your coworker's crypto tripled. Your neighbor flipped a house, and you're sitting there with 8%. The returns are working, but they don't feel like they're working. That emotional gap is dangerous. Phase 2. Irritation. The market goes sideways for 18 months. Some stock you never bought returns 40%. Your perfectly diversified portfolio returns 3%. You start getting angry at the strategy, at the advisors, at yourself for not taking bigger risks. Irritation makes you want to blow it all up and start over. Don't. Phase 3. Panic. This is the killer. The market drops 30%. Every single day brings worse news. You check your account and watch your future evaporate in real time. The logical part of your brain knows markets recover. But the emotional part screams, this time is different. Get out before you lose everything. And here's the brutal truth about panic. It has destroyed more wealth than any market crash in history. Not the crash itself, the reaction to it. The 2008 financial crisis, the 2020 pandemic collapse, the 2022 bear market. In each of these, millions of investors sold at the exact bottom, only to watch markets recover to new highs within months or years. Here's what you need to know. Market corrections of 10 to 20% happen almost every single year. Larger crashes of 30% or more, about once per decade. These aren't catastrophes. They're the price of admission for long-term wealth. The investors who internalize this reality don't panic because they already accepted temporary loss as part of the deal. Knowing these 3 phases doesn't make you immune to them, but it means that when panic arrives, you'll recognize it for what it is: a predictable stage, not a signal. A stage. We're at the final number, and this one is the multiplier that separates people who build decent wealth from people who build extraordinary wealth. The number is one meaningful increase to your contributions every single year. This could mean adding 10% more when you get a raise. It could mean bumping your monthly investment by a fixed amount each January. The exact method doesn't matter as much as the consistency. Let me show you what this actually does. 2 investors, both 25 years old, both start with $500 per month. Both earn 10% average annual returns. Investor A keeps contributing $500 a month for 30 years. After 30 years, they've put in $180,000 of their own money and grown it to approximately $1.1 million. That is genuinely impressive. Investor B increases contributions by 10% every year. After 30 years, they've contributed $340,000 and grown it to approximately $3.2 million. Same starting point, nearly triple the outcome. Why is the gap that massive? 2 reasons. First, more money enters the compounding machine earlier, and earlier dollars compound much longer. Second, as your income grows over your career, your investment keeps pace. If your salary doubles but your contribution stays flat, you're actually investing a smaller percentage of your earnings over time. The annual increase fixes that automatically. Here's the thing about this framework. Each number needs the others. Stay 7 years, but put everything in one sector? One bad rotation wipes out years of progress. Diversify perfectly, but quit after year 3, you'll never hit the acceleration phase. Stay invested and diversify, but never increase contributions, you're leaving the biggest lever completely untouched. Understand the emotional phases, but have no framework for navigating them, you'll know you're panicking and still be unable to stop yourself. Together, these 4 numbers address every reason people fail, not just the math, but the psychology, the diversification, and the compounding engine itself. Let me paint the picture of what happens when you actually commit to this. Years 1 and 2. You feel like you're throwing money into a void. Years 3 and 4. Maybe this is working, but slowly. Years 5 and 6. Real doubt sets in. Shouldn't you have more by now? Year 7. You notice something. Your annual gains just exceeded your annual contributions. Year 10. Your investment returns are generating more growth than your salary generates income. Year 15. You stop checking your account obsessively. The numbers are growing on their own. Year 20. You've built something substantial, not because any single year was spectacular, but because ordinary returns, compounding over ordinary time, produce extraordinary results. Maybe you're watching this at 35, 45, even 55, and thinking, the math doesn't work for me anymore. I missed my window. Here's the reality. Starting late is dramatically better than never starting. Even at 50, with 15 to 20 years ahead, compounding still significantly transforms wealth. The 7,531 framework works at any age. The 7-year horizon applies whether you're 25 or 55. Diversification actually becomes more important when you have less time to recover from concentrated bets. The 3 emotional phases will still arrive, and the annual contribution increase matters even more when you're working with a shorter runway. The biggest mistake late starters make is concluding that because they can't achieve optimal results, they shouldn't bother trying at all. Better late is still better. Progress from a disadvantaged starting point is still progress. The wealth you might be building right now isn't visible yet because you're still in the flat part of the exponential curve. But here's what I want you to take away from this video. The curve is real, the acceleration is real, and the only way to miss it is to quit before it arrives. 7 years of patience. 5 categories of diversification, 3 emotional phases to survive, 1 annual increase to accelerate it all. That's the 7,531 rule, and now you know it. If this video helped you see investing differently, drop a comment. I read every single one. And if you want the next level after this, the video I'd watch next is right here. See you there.